I'm just on this presentation today, I'm just really focusing one aspect of the kind of engagement we've been doing with the schools, because we are doing very similar things to what is just been described around helping schools to reduce the energy, um, to make it more energy efficient, and because they're schools that we own and we have to do that, and that's a completely different program. But today I just wanted to tell you about the engagement that we have been doing and what have we learned. So pre-COVID, and it's because it's a different world now. Uh, Pre-COVID, we were working with members of the communities, particularly Transition Town Camden, to help us engage with the schools. And it was actually a program that was started and prompted by Transition Town, because the council, we haven't had the resources to support and work with the schools hand to hand as we should have. Um, the work that been done in the past was around energy and buildings and all the stuff, but in proper kind of engagement, sustainability and climate action, there's something that wasn't happening. And this was something that was highlighted by Transition Town, and they said, can we do something with the schools? We put our heads together and we developed this program called the Sustainers, which was basically to support the schools to develop internal students-led climate action projects. And we support the schools with a lot of awareness and empowering students. So we have we launched the program inviting Rob Hopkins to talk to students in a big room, talking about the capacity or the ability that students can have to change the local environment. So we did a lot of events, and we brought schools together. We had 6 schools in the pilot, and we brought them together every 2 months to discuss progress and what we're doing, how we're doing the the internal identification of priorities, and we're supporting them with that. And then we ran a couple of events, like a Dragon Dance Styles events, where we brought students to a room with numbers of businesses. You can see on the image on the right, businesses sitting there listening to students, pitching the projects, and then they got money on that event. And then they went off to deliver the projects. At that point, lockdown came and things started to slow down. So some of the projects that received funding, it started to be delivered, but then kind of stopped. So that is a project that is kind of frozen in time in a way. But what we did learn is that usually it's the king teachers who drive this initiative inside the schools, and then tend to be working alone an extra time during the lunch hours or a little bit after school. And in some of the cases, some of the teachers maybe move on out of the school and the project came to an end. So for us, there is a concern is that unless the school is committed at a senior management level, there's very little you can do. It's a lot of effort that goes from very few keen teachers to make things happen, but they're not sustainable. So we started to think what do we need to do? During the COVID, one of the things what we did was to move online. So we created as an experiment a peer support network where we started meeting every other week with all the teachers that were kind of engaged in sustainability. And it's like a drop-in session for an hour every Thursday, 4 to 5. And it was divided in 2 aspects. One element was teachers sharing questions or successes or things that they've been doing. And there was another half an hour for a deep dive where we'll invite an expert, usually from the council, maybe from the waste team or from the transport team, to talk about initiatives the teachers wanted to hear about. And that worked really well and continues to work now. It moved from 2 weeks to 3 weeks, and now it's monthly because teacher found it was too much. But it's something that we're going to keep because it's a very easy, it's a drop-in. We just meet there once a month. Everyone can join. We say people, you can join for 5 minutes to say hi and then go. So it's increasing a network that we didn't have. because that's the other challenge we have, is that to talk to schools, you either talks to the admin email of the school, which is probably no place to go, or you talk to the head teacher. And we work very closely with our education provider, Camden Learning, and they have a weekly heads e-bulletin. And we talk to them through that channel quite a lot, but we haven't seen outcomes of that, because schools are overwhelmed with the delivery of the educational kind of targets. And these are things that are nice to do, but they're not kind of that important. So we felt the need of developing a close network with the teachers. Where are these teachers who are interested? How can we talk to them? And then we also, on the back of the peer support network, which I didn't put here, we developed an e-bulletin. And this e-bulletin started to have people. We started with 40 people. We now go around 185. It's growing slowly, but it's growing. And then we're talking to those who are interested. And also, we develop an information hub on the Camden Climate Change Alliance website, which then we signpost to an infinite amount of resources that there are out there. Because we know, for example, schools in Camden, around 30 schools are doing eco schools, and similar numbers are doing, for example, the TFL program STARS. So we felt that we didn't have neither the expertise or the capacity to reinvent the wheel and develop new resources, but signpost to the resources that are out there that are excellent. If you go to the schools, there will be plans for lessons for every grade, every subject in sustainability. So we said, we can't reinvent the wheel. So we have that resource, and people can search through subjects and stuff for them to find out what it is. And we also develop more kind of tailored things like webinars. During a project that we're gonna talk about right now, the Think and Do, we invite the schools to get involved, and they were really keen. One of the subjects that were really keen was on sustainable fashion. And a lot of the schools got involved. So we developed a webinar around what if we could stop fast fashion from destroying the planet, which is a subject that students are very keen, and it's a very easy way to hook in students. And then after the webinar, the students would maybe do things like jumper swaps or hoodie swaps, and they bring a rack, and once a week, everyone bring a hoodie and then swap them and talk about the need of why do you need a new one? You can have someone that's different from someone else, which is still in really good nick. So that's the kind of thing we've been doing during COVID. And going forward, and one of the things that we feel that we needed to do was to engage the senior management team. So we developed this school climate charter, which in a way is quite similar to the Let's Go Net Zero, because it's looking for schools to engage at a more committed, serious level. So the charter is basically a 2-page long document, but commits the council, the school, to declare climate crisis and take action in a number of commitments. And the commitments are divided in 2 areas, as kind of on the educational element, but also as organizations, as a school, running buildings, doing procurement, producing waste. So the charter was meant to be launched in March last year, and in a big PR event, and we had a school from Hackney who had already declared climate emergency and developed like a guide how to, and they were one of our speakers. That all got postponed, and now what we're doing is we're going to do a pilot project starting next month around the charter, inviting schools to help us to identify how best we can do this in the school. Again, what the aims of the pilot is basically how can we engage SLT? How can we engage the head teacher? Because I don't know, I hear that you're talking on the Let's Go Zero about empowering and engaging and supporting. But unless the SLT is engaged, and how do you engage SLT is an unknown for us, there's nothing going to be sustainable in the school. So the pilot is we're working with those keen teachers, sometimes very junior teachers, to help them to engage with SLT, to engage with the heads. So they can ultimately, heads and SLT together say, we're going to sign the school charter, we are going to declare climate crisis, and we're committed to act on these 12 areas. So I'm very keen to, this is my presentation, and I'm very keen to explore how can we work with your campaign, the Let's Go Zero, and that complements this initiative. And we also have developed a similar approach to work with businesses in the borough, and this is all on the back of launching our climate action plan